So in this one we're going to go over cron wildcards, and a wildcard in general just means sort of a replacement for something. So asterisk generally means all, if you ever see that in any sort of command line functionality, it will generally mean everything. So if a cron script being executed using wildcards, it could lead to prevesc. Wildcards can be used to inject commands. Typically there's a few different wildcards of brackets or braces, operators such as less than or more than, and the asterisk, things like that. They'll be used in a lot of command injection things. In our case, the wildcard just means that any command can come after it. So in the tar here, this means that any other flag present in the tar utility we can use. So essentially means any files in the directory zip. However, we can exploit this in the case of tar by naming the file's parameters it will recognise. I'll explain that now. So wildcards are command specific, and some will and some won't work, so it's important to read the man page of the command you're using to understand how, if it can be utilised to escalate privileges. So in the case of tar, what the previous command was telling it to do is that every file in that directory it would try and zip up. So in this case, if we were to name those files something that tar recognises, it would execute those file names as a command. And it just so happens there's two key things in the tar utility that can be used to execute commands. So it's the checkpoint and the checkpoint action. Not necessarily the checkpoint, more the checkpoint action. It just means that when it's at a checkpoint, it will execute a command or some sort of application. So as you can imagine why that's pretty interesting. tar has a parameter which allows command execution. To exploit its functionality, we should name two files, checkpoint 1 and checkpoint action exec, and the command we want to execute would be here, whether that be a file, could be a reverse shell, could be spawning another shell. As explained here, by creating these files inside the directory where the files are being compressed, the command will be interpreted as tar zzf compressed checkpoint 1 checkpoint action exec. So in the case of tar, to exploit this, you will simply name two files something like this here. So checkpoint 1 checkpoint action exec, and it will be passed as, or any file name for that matter, will be passed as a parameter. This is very much command specific, not just a general thing. Obviously other utilities don't have these things. That's why it's important to research and use GTFO bins, the resources like that, if ever you see a wildcard in your cron or anything for that matter. So to keep things simple, I've used the same command as before and just done it, or you just used it a different way essentially. So if we look in sudo sh, it's the exact same command as before. I've named it something different, so you can see you clearly see it is different from the last time we've used it. And all we've done in this directory is created two files. We've created one called checkpoint 1 and a checkpoint action that's executing a script. And inside that script, it is just copy and bash the temp directory again. So you can see if we go to, we don't need to go to bash, just execute it. So let's just temp bash -p and we should be root. There we go. Nice little shell spawn. Again, from that you can do many other things like reverse shell, pretty much anything you want. I like just spawning system shells like this. It's nice and easy, nothing too major. This is a nice little script that I've got saved for this kind of stuff, but as you can see it's very simple, nice and easy. Obviously in your case it might be a lot different. If you've got a wildcard, you probably have to look at the command specific stuff, but if you see tar, it's another one to keep in your back pocket. At least you know this kind of attack will work.